Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. We are currently on a boat in the middle of the sea with a inscrutable fisher and an heir. I'm pretty sure she asked me to go get her lunch in the last episode, so we're going to go to the galley. What culinary delights are available aboard such a vessel? The galley is scarcely 5 feet square and almost entirely filled with a table that, judging by the smell and the stain, the inscrutable fisher uses to scale and gut her catches. Jars of preserved fish have been haphazardly piled in one corner. Above the gimbaled hob hangs a row of strange kitchen utensils. Let's have a look at those kitchen utensils. They are unusual, to say the least. The first implement you pick up is a cast iron rose, with petals that unfurl into blades as you turn a delicate crank at its base. The second resembles a set of jaws, with blunt teeth carved from translucent material. A third has a tarnished needle and a rubber-sealed chamber that suggests it could be a syringe, were it not the size of your arm. Either the inscrutable fisher is a culinary visionary, or these are not kitchen utensils at all. There appears to be more to the fisher than meets the eye. Ooh, a jar of preserved fish. Let's get it. A pale fish, limp and bloated, is suspended in a gelatinous fluid. Its bulbous eyes stare sightlessly out at you through the greasy glass. The lid is securely fastened, but even sealed, the jar emits a scent that hangs about your person like a shroud. Eek. That doesn't sound very nice at all. I don't like fish. If you stay much longer, you'll never get the smell out of your clothes. So let's go back to the wheelhouse. Ooh, look at all these questions. My god. Should we? Oh man, there's a lot of things to be asking about here. Let's give her a lunch first. She intimated that she was hungry. Most kind, says the inscrutable fisher, relieving you of the jar. She pulls off her gloves with her teeth, revealing hands that are webbed with thick scar tissue, and missing most of their fingers. When she catches you looking at them, her unexpressive mouth tightens. This line of work is a hard one, she murmurs. She twists off the lid of the jar, scoops the fish out with one of her remaining fingers, and swallows it whole. Oh god. That's not nice at all. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Could we ask her where the coal is? The furnace is running low. We're going fast enough for now, says the inscrutable fisher, not meeting your gaze. Let's ask her about those strange kitchen utensils. When it comes to equipping my vessel, I make do with what I can get my hands on, the inscrutable fisher says. If you wanted a souffle, you should have stayed in London. Learning more about the inscrutable fisher might encourage her to be more explicit. Well, let's confront her. Ask the inscrutable fisher to explain the evidence that you have collected. There's a lot. If you care for your friend, she says, pouring you a drink, you'll hear me out. I belong to a group that seeks to free London from its old shackles. My job is recruiting Londoners who might strengthen our influence. Your friend's advertisement was too good an opportunity to pass up. Given the positions occupied by former stags, he'd be an asset. He's seeking purpose, recognition, and camaraderie. We can help him achieve all of those things. She removes her glasses, revealing sparkling irises flecked with gold. Our fleet are on their way to meet this vessel at the Bound Shark feeding grounds. I fear that was a big reveal. I know this heavily ties into Sunless Seas. I've not played Sunless Seas, so I don't know. There's been a lot of hints towards the thing that's in Sunless Seas. I really need to play Sunless Seas, don't I? I may do like a short, just a couple episodes, maybe one a day or something, and just see how it goes. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to go into the heir's room, don't we? So, can we get into the heir's cabin? Pickpocket the heir. Oh, this seems a lot easier. Ask for the cabin key so you might fold his linens. I'd quite forgotten that I didn't bring a valet, exclaims the heir. Yeah. They're so good at making themselves invisible that one doesn't notice when they're not there. I suppose I don't really need my clothes folded, but if you're getting into the spirit of things, seeing what it's like to be someone of limited means, I'll play along. I don't half envy servants, he says wistfully, extricating the key from his pocket. All they have to think about is doing their work and getting paid. They never have to worry about what their next lark's going to be. Oh, I don't like this man. Right, let's go to his room. Explore his cabin. Unlock door. The brass key turns easily enough, but the damp wood door requires a sharp nudge from your shoulder before it shutters open, and you pitch forward into incruciously cozy cabin. The mounted fish skeletons and neatly hung row of wooden gloves suggest that the inscrutable fisher has given up her own cabin for the benefit of her wealthy passenger. The idle heir's brand new kit bag lies open upon the bunk, and his belongings are strewn about the cabin. Beneath the porthole is a long wooden crate with the heir's initials stamped on it. On top of it, the heir has placed a framed photograph of himself. Let's search the room. Inside the kit bag, there is a letter. My son, I reluctantly enclose funds for yet another expedition, praying that it will finally satisfy your baffling preoccupation with the lives of commoners. The longer you persist with these self-aggranding larks, the more of a fool I appear. How can I claim to know what's best for the city when I am paying for you to fraternize with its lesser denizens? Should I withdraw my support, I would be left without an heir, the only situation that would be more embarrassing for me than the one I find myself in now. Okay, well, let's force open the long crate. Concealed weapon. The lid has been nailed shut, but you work your fingers beneath it and pull. After some exertion, it creaks open, revealing tightly packed wood shavings. Beneath them gleams a smooth flank of burnished wood. You brush the shavings aside to reveal a brand new harpoon, with the idle heir's initials engraved into the handle, and polished steel barbs, as yet unrusted by blood. The idle heir looking to commemorate his voyage by securing a new Z-beast to mount at the Stag's Club? Well, that doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? So basically I need to tell. Let's go speak to... Oh boy. Can I go speak to the... Should I go speak to the heir? Let's go see if we can confront the heir about whether... That's his cabin. Yeah, let's confront the idle heir about his harpoon. You were meant to fold my linens, not pour through my things, sputters the heir. He sighs. I suppose there's no point in lying to you. I am rather hoping to harpoon a bound shark. Imagine how it would look on the wall of the club, against a flock wallpaper, with my name on a little brass plaque. All the others and father would finally see. His voices catch and his eyes glisten. It's of no matter, he sniffs. It's my voyage, it's my harpoon, and I'll do as I please. I'm a stag, after all. He does his best to strike a dignified pose. Oh god. So, now I have to make the choice. Do I want to side with the fisher or the heir? See, as much as I hate the way this man is looking at the world, he is trying hard to understand the denizens of the place, as his father so tightly put it. So I think I'm going to side with the heir. So I'm going to tell the heir what the fisher is planning. The Inscrutable Fisher is a member of an organisation seeking to free London from its current regime. Her previous role involved binding sharks, but now she is responsible for recruiting new members, and only answered the idle heir's advertisement because she wishes to conscript him due to his status as a young stag. Let's tell him. He was the one who brought you on this voyage. Perhaps you owe him some loyalty. He's unfazed. Oh, how jolly, exclaims the idle heir. I suppose it's sort of a club, rather like the Young Stags, but for commoners. I wonder what sort of larks they get up to. That's the nice thing about being a stag. You get invited to all sorts of things. Don't worry, he says, tapping the side of his nose. I'll still act surprised when the other boat shows up. Oh, God. Ah, dear. So, now we need to decide if we want to tell the heir about his father's plan. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. We might as well at this point. I'm sure he'll be fine. Oh, do you know what? No, let's say nothing about that plan. I'm such a silly old thing. I should have bought a camera. I could have shown my chums what I looked like up here on the prow. A photograph would be just the thing, because the others say they're rather bored of listening to me talk. The idle heir forces a throttle. They're joking, of course. He gives you a broad smile, but it does not reach his eyes. Okay, so now all we need to worry about is more coal. Go to the engine room. We've already examined the furnace. So the only way we're going to get more coal is if we find some. Oh, maybe I can get more coal if I tell the fisher about it and she wants to go quicker. Baron's plan could thwart hers. I don't know what to say. Well, the Baron's just trying to keep his son safe, so let's not. Yes, I was made aware that the young stags like to steal trousers, she says flatly. I learned about the custom when I was researching the stags for this assignment. It must be so odd to have so few real struggles that one has to invent them. An empty existence, don't you think? I am going to tell her about the harpoon. Tell her that the idle heir smuggled a harpoon aboard. That's disappointing, she said gravely. Though perhaps I shouldn't be surprised that he has such a limited perspective at this point. No one who has seen a bound shark, witnessed the way they thrash and strain, could fail to be moved by their suffering. She rummages in a drawer for a winch handle, then whacks it against her gloved palm. I'm going to disable the harpoon, she says. Fuck it! Let's hope that doesn't bite me in the ass. How do I get more coal? Let me just go through everything. Okay, we've earned the trust, so we had to talk to her again. The furnace is running low. You've earned her trust. She will tell you where it is. The fisher pulls a lever, and a distant clanging reverberates through the vessel. The chute's open. You only need to add one shovelful of coal. That'll get us to the bound shark feeding ground at the same time as my fellows. Let's go, stoke. The furnace is my final decision. The ill-humoured Baron has asked you to ensure that the fishing vessel maintains a low speed, while his son has requested you make it go as fast as possible. Meanwhile, the fisher has asked you add one shovelful of coal to the furnace, so the fishing vessel will reach the bound shark feeding ground at the same time as her organisation's fleet. All these choices, god dang. Let's add 3 lumps of coal. I think I'm slowly just siding with this poor man who's worrying about his kid. But then again, is he worrying about his kid or is he worrying about his status? Oh, I don't know. Screw it, let's just do one shovelful. A request fulfilled. You heave a shovelful of coal onto the modest pile of gently glowing coals and work the rusty grate closed. Slowly, the fresh coals catch alight and the floor vibrates as the engine increases in power. The fishing vessel is gathering speed. I've done as the inscrutable fisher asked. Return to the deck. And now, to the bound shark feeding grounds. The voyage is about to reach its climax. Bound sharks ahoy! The fishing vessel rumbles across the sea just fast enough for the still cavern air to ruffle the idle heir's hair. Is this really as fast as this boat can go? He asks you, trying to mask his disappointment. Up ahead, the flat, dark surface of the sea is broken by something thrashing just beneath. The inscrutable fisher cuts off the engine, and the fishing vessel drifts towards the boiling water. You catch glimpses of flailing fins and tarnished steel. "They're here," she whispers reverently as she joins you on the deck. You know the inscrutable fisher used to bind sharks. I didn't know that. Why did I learn that? Was that the utensils? Would explain why she feels so sorry for them. The bound sharks writhe, straining hopelessly against their metal bindings. The smallest are still larger than the fishing vessel, and the boat rocks alarmingly as they beat the water with their muscular tails. The heir and the fisher stand side by side, gripping the rusty railings as they stare, open-mouthed, at the violent tableau. So we can speak to the inscrutable fisher. She is mesmerized. An enthralling display. The inscrutable fisher cannot reply. So moved is she by the congregation of bound sharks. One of them rolls onto its back, revealing a white belly punctured by the metal rods that hold its binding in place. It tries to open its jaws, but the metal bar across its face slices into its gums, scraping against its teeth. A tear trickles down the fish's cheek from behind her dark glasses. Let's speak to the idle heir. He is transfixed. "I say," whispers the idle heir, the pinkness straining from his cheeks. "I'd never really thought about how the bindings might work. But now I wonder if they aren't rather uncomfortable. How in the neath did anyone hold them down long enough to hammer those braces in? And why?" He unconsciously massages his own belly in sympathy for the beasts. He lowers his voice yet further. "I think I might actually be doing one of these fellows a favour by harpooning it." Oh dear. Convulsing in agony, a particularly muscular bound shark leaps into the air. As it falls, its head collides violently with the deck, knocking the fishing vessel on its side. The heir shrieks, scrabbling for a handhold, and the fisher grabs his flailing arm just in time. For a terrifying moment it seemed as if you will capsize, but the vessel slowly rights itself, leaving the heir gibbering with relief. The twitching shark floats alongside the boat, stunned. The blow to his head has incapacitated it. The stunted bound shark lies on its side in the water, gills quivering, its black eyes staring at nothing. While the inscrutable fisher recovers from his near loss of her vessel, the heir shakes himself from his terrified stupor, staggers towards the hatch, and disappears below. Moments later, he hauls himself back onto the deck, the splintered remains of his harpoon in his trembling hands. Commiserate with the heir, he will not get his trophy. She destroyed the harpoon. My god, I thought she was going to turn it off. "It must have been smashed when the shark hit the deck," whimpers the heir, cradling the miserable pile of bent steel and splintered wood. "Our fathers and the others will never see." His lip trembles, and he turns away. The inscrutable fisher gives you a knowing nod from across the deck. In the water, the bound shark regains consciousness and resumes its agonizing thrashing. As the idle heir watches his trophy splash away, a light appears on the horizon, reflecting off the boiling water. It is the fleet, come to take their new recruit, or the ill-humoured Baron, come to rescue his son. From behind, the Baron's enormous steamer looms out of the darkness. As it approaches, more lights appear from the opposite direction, and the fisher's fleet converges upon it. "Bring me that fishing vessel," shouts a voice from the steamer's vertinous deck, but it's too late. The fleet fires a barrage of torpedoes that sink it almost at once. The screams of the crew echo through the cavern as they are torn apart by frenzied sharks. "I think those were the fisher's chums," whispered the heir to you, "and they saved us from that big steamer. I can't wait to meet them." Oh crap. Oh, that didn't go as planned. Looks like I'm on their side now. Oh dear. With the steamer gone, the other ships surrounding the fishing vessel, bumping it gently. A young man in a tricorn jumps down onto the deck. He casts his sparkling eyes in your direction, fixing them on the idle heir. "You're coming with us, my friend," he says. You want me?" the heir says, his eyes saucers. We can either let them take the heir, the fisher will take you to London, or we can accompany the party. They may yet be a way to save the heir, or you might just want to watch what happens to him. We're going to accompany him, just for information. We do want you, says the tricorned man. In fact, we've gone to considerable effort to meet with you. You would be doing us a great honour by accompanying us. The heir smiles tearfully, the crisis of a few moments before suddenly forgotten. He takes the man's hand and clambers onto the waiting ship, smiling nervously. The man raises an eyebrow at the fisher as you follow him, and she nods. We are the new sequencers, says the tricorned man, placing a hand on the heir's shoulder. And we want you to be one of us. The heir is so overcome with emotion that he cannot speak. So the new sequencers. I have heard of these people before. I don't know them that well though. The Grand Geode. The light from the geode stains the cavern air, the colour of rust. As the sequencer's fleet approaches, the clanking of some vast and distant machine grows louder, though its source remains hidden behind a sparkling wall of crystal. Your ship docks, and the tricorn sequencer holds out a hand to the idle heir. Don't be afraid, my friend, he says. Everything you ever wanted is here. The heir looks to you with frightened eyes. If I remember correctly, the sequencers have the Machine of Dawn, is it? Which is like the sun in Sunless Skies, where it allows people to control people. Could be wrong though. So we can either tell the idle heir to go with the tricorn sequencer. He will be returned to London, but he'll never be the same. You can volunteer to take the idle heir's place. As far as the tricorn sequencer knows, you're a stag too. Or we can buy the heir's freedom. The sequencers seek influence. The ill-humoured Baron's secrets may be as valuable to them as his son. Okay. This is irreversible. Either way, I do not want to tell... The top choice is not an option, so we can either take this place, which seems like a terrible idea, or we can buy the heir's freedom, so let's do that, because money solves everything. The offer is more than fair. The tricorn sequencer's golden eyes widen as he leafs through the volume. Some of these names, he falters. Some of the people in these documents, He holds the papers to his chest. I knew the stags had connections, but I never imagined they went this high. He catches his breath. This will help our cause immeasurably. I'll have one of my captains take you both back to London at once. As the sequencers ready a ship for your return, the heir pulls you aside. I don't know what you did exactly, he whispers, not meeting your gaze. But thank you. Wait, didn't the ill-humans Baron steamer explode? You returned to London aboard the ill-humid Baron steamer? That might be an error. You and the heir stand on the bridge of one of the new sequencers' vessels. Bright-eyed sequencers scurry industriously around you. Never seen anything like it, says the heir after uncharacteristically long silence. Not the geode, but the people. Everyone there was so busy, working so hard on things people would miss if they were left undone. He fiddles with his oilskin jacket. And then I thought, isn't it funny that even though I'm a stag, one of the most important people in London, I don't think anyone would notice if I stopped doing larks. He sighed. Nothing I've ever done really matters. Oh, that's the sad truth. You've moved to a new area, your lodgings. So we can conclude it in the epilogue. The Young Stags are holding yet another party in the imposing townhouse where you first met the idle heir. The sounds of their wine-fueled revelry spills out into the streets. So let's attend the party just to see how the idle heir is. And there no more. Come and join us, shouts a group of stags sharing a drink by the fire. I don't suppose you know what happened to the Baron, says one. His son came in here recently, saying he was leaving the stags. We all thought it was a lark at the first, but he hasn't been back since. Anyway, our fathers haven't heard anything from the Baron for days. He's too embarrassed, slurs another. Doesn't want to show his face. Speaking of embarrassing things. He continues, rummaging in a pocket. His son gave us this to give to you. It smells frightfully. So I suppose it must be a joke. He always did have funny ideas about larks. You have acquired a mermaid's purse. A tiny shark is just visible beneath the translucent membrane. And a bottle of 4th City Airag, the year of the tortoise. And we have completed the exceptional story. I enjoyed that quite a lot, and I fear people who like the story of the sequences, who know more about it than I do, will enjoy that a lot more. Because it kind of goes into a little bit more detail about what they're planning and what they're doing. But either way, I enjoyed it very much. Like I always do. It's very rare I come across one of these that I do not like. But please let me know what you think. Comment if you did things different to me. That would be great. I'd like to know where the different paths go and how things change. And please like, subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next time.